Hi, and welcome to How Humans Heal. I'm Dr. Donnie Wilson, and in this episode, I want to help you to be most prepared to fend off all the different kinds of viruses. That means cold viruses, flu viruses, even COVID virus, and other viruses that cause things like sinusitis and laryngitis and bronchitis, and all those kinds of inflammatory issues that can happen in the upper respiratory tract and even in the lungs. And especially if you're listening as we're in the cold and flu season, these are the things that I always make sure I have on hand with me if I'm traveling, or definitely in my supplements and handy when I'm at home, because I'm going to want to make sure to, as best as possible, prevent myself from catching a virus. And then if and when I do catch a virus, because sometimes it happens anyway, even with all of our best efforts, sometimes we still do catch a virus. And that's something that just happens to humans. So we want to be prepared to help your body and your immune system to fend off that virus as fast as possible is my strategy. And there's several reasons for this. One is, of course, we just want to recover faster so we can get back to our usual daily schedule when we're not feeling good, right? When you're feeling all congested and headache and sore throat and tired, it's hard to do your usual activities even from home. So we want to recover faster so that you can get back to your usual daily activities. Also, to be able to spend time with your loved ones. When we're sick, for me, that means I can't be around my granddaughter, or I'm not able to go to my dance classes. So I want to get better so I can get back to those things that I love. But I'm sure you have some similar things in your life that you want to be able to be doing. You don't want to have to cancel. But I'm going to talk about today why, to me, the best strategy is to reset your schedule when you first figure out you're getting sick. Dive into taking care of yourself so you can get better faster, so you can get back to doing the things you love. And the other thing is, we want to be able to prevent, hopefully, the need for antibiotics and steroids and other types of treatments. Because, if you need them, yes, you need to use them, and we're going to get through it as well. But if at all possible, to avoid antibiotics, because using antibiotics over and over again ends up disrupting your microbiome, your gut bacteria, and can cause leaky gut and all kinds of other health issues and susceptibilities. So it's much better if we can avoid the need for antibiotics. Antibiotics, of course, are to kill bacteria. And if you have a viral infection, you don't necessarily need antibiotics unless it becomes bacterial. So I'm going to teach you how to help prevent it from becoming bacterial so you can avoid antibiotics. The other thing we want to try to avoid, if possible, is the need for steroids. That's like prednisone and along those lines. So if we need them, we need them. But if we can prevent them, that's better, because whenever you have to go through a course of prednisone or other form of corticosteroids, it is another thing for your body to have to recover from. Your adrenal glands have to recover. Your electrolytes in your whole body, your system has to recover. And a lot of times when you have to take steroids, it can disrupt your blood sugar levels, your metabolism, even your immune system, and as I mentioned, your adrenal system. And so it's just, if necessary, we need to use them. But if we can avoid it by using natural anti-inflammatories and helping you heal faster, then that's better, right? That's going to be better. So let me guide you through exactly what to do and what to have on hand to help you to accomplish that. And also, that other third goal of mine is to help you prevent the next infection. Because what can happen once you catch one virus, it's more likely you're going to catch another virus. And then next thing you know, patients all the time tell me that they're like, oh, I had this infection, and then I got this infection, and then I got this infection. And then they end up spending like better part of the winter months, one infection after the next. So we want to help you recover faster and better the first time you get sick so you don't get sick again. And that's really, really important, including what to do after you get sick to prevent the next infection, okay? So there's a lot we can do. Believe me, I've been experimenting on myself with this for over 25 years because when I was in naturopathic medical school and training as a midwife, I was very susceptible to infections. What we know is we become more susceptible to viral infections and other kinds of infections when we're under stress, right? If you think about it, if you think back to the last time you got sick, it's very likely that you were under more stress, likely you were having less sleep, and there's also a likelihood you were eating more sugar and having more alcohol. To me, those are the factors that I found and still find to make me more susceptible to getting sick. So as soon as I know I'm under more stress, not getting at least 8 hours of sleep every night, and having maybe more sugar or alcohol than usual, already the immune system's going to go down and the infections are going to go up. So if you already know that that's coming in your schedule, then you want to already be taking some things to help your immune system through those time periods where your immune system is dipping so that you can counteract it and you can stay ahead of it and prevent those infections. So when I was a medical student and midwifery student, I was not getting enough sleep. I was definitely under stress with over 20 credits every semester. And I wasn't having alcohol, but I'm sure I was having more sugar sometimes. So no wonder I was so susceptible. And I didn't want to miss class. Just like now, I hate to have to miss appointments with my patients. So it's very motivating for me to say, how can I prevent that from happening? And how do I help myself recover faster if and when it does happen? So think about that for yourself. I always think it helps if we really set what's important to us first. What do we value most, right? We value time with our loved ones. We value being able to keep with our work schedule. We value our health and being able to prevent other health issues, right? So just jot down, what is it that you value most? Because then you're going to have a lot more clarity around why you want to be prepared and why you want to take these steps to help yourself fend off viruses and bacteria and other infections. So now that we have that set, we understand on the same page, okay, here's why this is important to us. Now, what are we going to do once we start to feel like we're getting sick? Because to me, that's the thing I had to first learn to do, was to pay attention to my symptoms. Because if it catches up with you, like you're like, oh, I've been having a sore throat for the last 4 days, that means you had 4 days to start taking action already. And what I found is the faster you start intervening when you first start to have an inkling that you might be getting sick, even if you know you around someone who had a cold, I would start then. So start as soon as you were like, uh-oh, I might get sick, start then. Because if you delay, and this is again based on experimenting on myself and seeing it in patients too, but if you delay a day or 2 days or 3 days, the more you delay getting started to address it, the longer it's going to take you to get better. So that's why my first thing is just be noticing. Because this is the thing is, I think we go into denial, right? Like this happens for me. I'm like, hopefully I'm not going to get sick, or I'm wishful thinking that I'm not going to get sick. But then the sore throat starts to happen and you start sneezing, and then you feel a little congested and you feel feverish and tired, and right, it starts to come on. And I'd almost rather that the symptoms get clear quickly. My body tells me right away, yep, the virus is going on here. So then I can start taking action as fast as possible. So jot down for your body, what are the first signs your body usually gives you? Because it can vary based on the virus, but it can also vary based on the person. And sometimes you just know your own body. What are the ways? And next time you catch something, pay attention. Hey, what were the first symptoms for you that a virus is in your system and your immune system's trying to protect you from it? Because that's what happens is right away, our immune system starts to try to protect us. That's why the immune system creates congestion, because it's trying to rinse out the virus and get it out of there. That's why we start sneezing. Our bodies are like, what's there? Get it out, right? We start coughing. The sore throat is because we've got inflammation. Inflammation is our immune system going to that area to try to fend off the virus. right? So you start to appreciate the symptoms when you realize that the symptoms are actually your immune system kicking into gear. And if you don't have symptoms at the beginning, actually that says to me, we need to boost your immune system and get it working better. Even if you get a fever, like if you get a 99 or 100-degree fever, to me, that's a good thing. That means your immune system is trying to protect you, because heat, when we're hot, a virus can't survive that kind of heat. That's why our body makes a fever, is to kill the virus. So if you start to feel feverish or you check your temperature and it's like 99 or 100 degrees, be like, great, I want to help my body have a fever. And so I don't run straight to take a fever reducer. I try to work through it. I try to just take that as a sign that I need to rest. And I try to, as fast as possible, my mind starts thinking, when's the soonest that I can get into a hot bath or a hot shower if you don't have a bathtub? Because you want to actually help your body create a fever to get hot. You could even go in the sauna. If you have an infrared sauna, get into the sauna and get yourself hot. And then or get into a hot shower or bath, and then get to sleep, because the better you can get more rest, the more you can heal. So you want to be able to get better sleep. And the hard thing is, if you start to get congested and headachy, sometimes it's hard to get good sleep. So you want to try to get in naps and get sleeping as much as possible, because the sleep will help you heal faster. So here we go. The first things to think of is, when can I get noticing that you're starting to get sick? Get in that hot, if you have a sauna, get an infrared sauna happening, and then follow it up with the hot shower or bath. And then we got to get some rest. Try to take a nap. Sometimes that means you have to say no or cancel your plans and say, I caught a virus. I need to take care of myself and not give it to someone else. And I'm going to have to reschedule. And then you start diving into helping your immune system protect you. Now, if your fever goes, let's say, to over 104 for sure, or even over 103, for children, if their temperature goes up to like 102, 103, now this is if you're taking their oral temperature, so their central body temperature. If you're checking under the armpit, there's a degree difference. So you want to, but if it's their core temperature, then if it's above 102, you're going to want to take some steps to lower it. One of the best ways to keep your fever from going too high is to stay hydrated. So throughout being sick, you want to start thinking, how can I drink more water, even water with a pinch of sea salt in it so you're getting electrolytes, herbal tea, and avoid, that's not when you need caffeine. That's not when you need sugar. That's not when you need alcohol, because sugar and alcohol both decrease your immune function, make you more susceptible to the virus infection, right? So you want to say, let me stay hydrated with water and herbal tea, things like ginger tea or other cold tea. There's, if you look at the grocery store, you can find organic herbal teas for cold and flu symptoms. Those are great. And so you can drink that and stay hydrated. When you're hydrated, it's less likely that your fever is going to go too high. And if you already feel like the fever's a little high for you, like say it's getting to 101, 102, and if it's your child, make sure they're staying hydrated as best as possible, because hydration helps prevent a spiking fever. You can also help if the fever's getting a little high, then you could use a warm washcloth. You don't want to use ice cold because you don't want to super contrast the temperature. But if you have a fever of 100 and you use a washcloth that's, let's say, even 60 degrees, it's cooler than 100 degrees, so it's going to bring your temperature down. And these are steps you can take to lower your fever a little bit so that it stays around 100 degrees. And then okay, 100 degrees is good because it's going to help me kill this virus, okay? And then if there's times if the fever's keeping you awake, or you're feeling just really awful, or if you have signs of a bacterial infection. How do you know if you have a bacterial infection? Bacterial infections tend to cause a higher fever. They tend to cause yellow or green phlegm. Now, if you have a little bit of green phlegm, like when you first wake up in the morning, That's usual because you've been laying down, and usually when you wake up, you'll have a little bit of yellow or green phlegm. As long as it goes away quickly, that's okay. But if you have green phlegm all day long, or you're coughing up green phlegm, that's more of a sign of a bacterial infection. And once it becomes a bacterial infection, that's when we start thinking we need either some herbs that can kill bacteria, or we need to get some antibiotics. And if the fever's going too high, like definitely up over 103, we're going to need to get that fever down. Okay, you got me? So any questions, by the way, I'm always here to help. I'm always here to help. If you could always contact my office and make an appointment, and I will guide you through dealing with an infection and hopefully preventing the need for antibiotics. And if we're not able to prevent the need for antibiotics with this infection, what I find is once I guide people through this, even through one time, if I guide you through day by day, step by step, through one infection, you're going to get the hang of it, and then you're going to know what to do for the next one. And what happens is once I guide you through this, you're less likely to catch another infection because you already know what to do, and you already know what all these signs are and what choices to make at every step of the way. So please always, if you're listening and you're like, oh my gosh, Dr. Donnie, I don't know how I'm going to do this on my own, then just as soon as you know you're getting sick, contact my office. And so then I can make an appointment and guide you. Okay, so here we go. So now you know you're sick. You started to take these initial steps. You're staying hydrated. You're avoiding sugar because sugar and alcohol drop your immunity. I would also avoid dairy, any dairy. So milk and yogurt and anything made from cow milk I would avoid because dairy tends to increase phlegm and fluid, and you already have enough of that when you're sick. So avoid dairy products as well. And I would also avoid gluten because I know gluten is inflammatory and it always would make me sick way longer. So I already avoid gluten anyway. But if you're eating gluten, I would definitely start avoiding it when you find out you're sick. So avoid dairy and gluten for sure. And start eating foods that are going to help you heal. The classic, chicken soup. Get some bone broth and some chicken or turkey because you're getting protein. You need protein for your immune system. So we need to make sure you're getting adequate protein. So chicken, turkey, especially like in a soup. It could also be salmon, for example. If you're plant-based, just make sure you're getting adequate protein. It's so important to get that protein to help you heal. And then you can get fruits and vegetables, but I wouldn't go overboard on the fruits, but have some frozen berries or have some applesauce. And then you can also, for the vegetables, put them in the soup even. You can have kale or broccoli. These all have good antioxidants in them. Any colorful fruits and vegetables, antioxidants, which are good for your immune system. So eat those colorful fruits and vegetables. And, a lot of times you can buy a pre-made organic soup. So because you don't feel like cooking, you can just buy it. At least it's going to be an organic, healthy soup that you can quickly heat up and eat. And you could also have protein shakes. I like to use my either pea protein or bone broth protein shake. I have that every day, but you can definitely have that when you're sick to help you just get easy access to nutrients. Okay, you got it. So choose your healthy foods when you're sick, and you want to have small meals at nice increments of time, like every 3 to 4 hours, because sometimes your appetite's down when you're sick, but you don't want to not eat because if you stop eating, now you aren't getting your nutrients or your macronutrients. So we need to still eat when we're sick, but maybe you'll have smaller meals of things that are easier to digest, like soup or protein shake, and then you just eat every 3 to 4 hours and stay hydrated with your water, with electrolytes or herbal tea, okay? I'm really excited to open enrollment in my new 14-day detox program. It's based on my experience spending 16 days in the Amazon, and I realized I really want to be able to support all of you to safely and effectively detox from home. The 14-day detox includes a kit with protein powder, including antioxidants to support liver detoxification, as well as an anti-inflammatory diet plan, daily videos and tips from me, as well as my self-care notebook and lots of encouragement to spend time in nature to reset your circadian rhythm. I want you to be able to detox your mind, body, and spirit so you can get back to balance and move forward in your life with resilience. I can't wait for you to join me in this transformational process. That's some of the main things. I also love to emphasize getting some sunlight if you can. I know if you're sick, it feels like, okay, why am I going to go outside? But if you can, it's perfect to be able to even get outside for 5-10 minutes, get the sun on your skin. It's amazing at helping us heal. And of course, getting sunlight, even 10 minutes on your skin on a daily basis helps you get your vitamin D. And more than that, it helps our immune system protect us from viruses. So even during the winter and it's cold outside, try to still get some sunlight on your skin, and or make sure you have an infrared sauna with red light therapy so you're getting those signals, light signals on your skin to help your immune system protect you from infections. Okay, so those are some of the initial steps and things to consider in especially when you get sick, but also for prevention. And so the next thing is how to choose the right supplements, okay? Because now you've got, you got to get more sleep, you know how to make some diet changes, you know how to start to take action in your life. What can you do in terms of supplements and what to have on hand? Now, I always like to emphasize that everybody's a little different, right? So even when it comes to, there's thousands of different nutrients and herbs and homeopathy and peptides and, oh my gosh, there's so many different things we could choose to help support the immune system, including prevention and when you find out that you're sick. So how do you choose which ones? It's not like you're going to take the long list of things. We have to prioritize. So how do we prioritize what to take? And again, I've experimented on myself and I've been helping patients for over 23 years. So I'm always observing what are the things that help people and myself recover the fastest. And so that's what I'm here to share with you. And I'm always looking out for the latest and best thing to help you. But I also want to encourage you to individualize it for your body. It can be unique. So if you already know, hey, for example, some people are like, oh my gosh, I just go straight for oregano and oregano helps me every time, then great, use oregano. And another person might have some other favorite herb that they use. Great, olive leaf. Olive leaf is beautiful, great support for the immune system. I love it. And so you want to just know for you, if this has helped you, then use that and have it on hand and bring it with you wherever you go. So have access to it and use it. Also, mushrooms can be amazing. All the different mushrooms from shiitake, mushroom, maitake, reishi, beautiful mushrooms. You can either be using them in your cooking. I love to cook with shiitake mushrooms. You can also be using them in a tea form, like in a beverage or cocoa with tea with mushroom in it. You can be using mushroom capsules. There's so many different ways we can use these mushrooms, and they are amazing. So much research on how they help us, not only for the immune system, but today we're focusing on that. So helping our immune system protect us from infections, specifically viral infections. So use what you love and what's working for you. The other thing that I like to emphasize is to look for supplements that are very strategic, that have the most effective ingredients all in one product. Because to me, I'm much more likely to reach for one product or two products and take them very diligently and strategically than to have everything in an individual bottle. Now you have 10 different bottles you're trying to take and juggle, and it's too overwhelming. So I'm going to share some examples. I always really try to go for the most strategic combination products. The other thing to keep in mind with supplements is frequent dosing. It doesn't really work to just take these supplements once in a day, like just when you wake up. It's going to help you for a couple hours. But herbs and nutrients tend to be metabolized by the body within a few hours, maybe even, if you're lucky, 4 to 6 hours. So you want to repeat your dose every 4 to 6 hours. So you're going to need to take a dose in the morning, the midday, the evening, and probably even bedtime as well. So like 4 different times a day. And then while you're sleeping, hopefully you're going to sleep through the night and you don't need a dose until the morning. If you're waking up in the night, you might even need another dose in the middle of the night. Now, you have to be careful. Know your stomach, because for some people, if they take some pills on an empty stomach, could make you nauseous or vomit. So you want to make sure you have some food in your belly if that's the case when you swallow these supplements. Sometimes I can get away with taking 1 or 2 on an empty stomach and be fine. So again, you have to know your body and how much you can take and how much food or protein shake you need to have with it. But my point is, think about frequent dosing and be prepared for that. That's where you're going to get the greatest effectiveness from using herbs and nutrients to fend off a virus. So what are the things that I always have on hand? Number 1 is I always love to have silver. Now, silver liquid, or what's sometimes called colloidal silver or nanoparticles of silver, there's some really high quality silver products. Essentially, it's these nanoparticles of silver in water. And it comes in a form where you can squirt it in your mouth, so you can get it in your throat. You can squirt it up your nose. They have sinus sprays. They have dropper bottles, so you can swallow it. Silver you can really use also on your skin if you have a skin infection. But in this situation, we're talking about the respiratory tract. So we're going to want to put the silver in our throat and up our nose. And the reason why is because silver is antiviral and antibacterial. So right away, it's helping you to fend off viruses and bacteria at the same time. And I love that. I'm like, okay, we want to get the virus to go away and we want to prevent the bacteria from showing up. So as soon as you might even want to be using silver if you think you might have an increased risk, right? You might be traveling on an airplane or around large groups of people or around someone else who's sick. Then already start using this silver throat spray and nasal spray. I actually buy the nasal spray, and you can squirt it in your throat and up your nose with the same one. And if you have family members, you might each need one so that you can each be squirting it in your nose and your mouth and your nose. So silver spray is one of my favorites to have on hand. The other thing I always love to have on hand is hesperidin. Hesperidin is a plant-based, it's from a plant, and it's an antihistamine, a natural antihistamine. Yes, you could go to the pharmacy and get over-the-counter antihistamine-type products that are chemical or synthetic-based. And some people like them and they work okay. But the thing is, the synthetic antihistamines tend to have more side effects associated with them. I find that for myself, I do much better with the plant-based antihistamines, and that's why I love hesperidin. Now, why do we want an antihistamine when we have a virus? Well, because what's happening when we catch a virus is the histamine levels increase as part of the immune response, and that immune response and histamine is what causes the runny nose and the sneezing and the sore throat, and all of that is from partially a histamine response. So if we take something and I feel histamine at the end of my nose at the moment, when we take an antihistamine, it decreases all of that histamine response. So it's not that it's inhibiting your immune system at all. You'll be better able to fend off the virus and even better at fending off bacteria, because bacteria love it when there's a bunch of liquid sitting around. So if you feel congested, you're already susceptible to bacteria because they love that sinus fluid sitting there. So we want you to be blowing your nose and getting that liquid out of there. Keep that fluid moving. So as much as you need to be blowing your nose, coughing it up, spitting it out, just be human and get that fluid out of there. And if you use hesperidin, you're going to have a lot less phlegm to deal with. So again, with hesperidin, because it's a plant-based substance, you're going to need to do frequent dosing. You're going to need to take it, probably morning, midday, evening, bedtime. And you can take 1 or 2 capsules, and you're going to find how much do you need to take in order to be having enough effectiveness to decrease the phlegm and all of that histamine symptoms. The next thing that I like to do is a combination product. So the nutrients that I'm looking for are vitamin A, vitamin C, zinc, also vitamin D. Those are all antioxidants are very important for helping you fend off viruses and other infections. We also can use herbs that are antiviral and antimicrobial and immune supportive. Herbs like echinacea, elderberry, andrographis, astragalus, and more. There's also an amino acid called lysine that's antiviral. And there's also a nutrient called N-acetylcysteine or NAC. Sometimes it's called NAC. N-acetylcysteine is an amino acid that is a precursor to glutathione. Glutathione is our main antioxidant. And NAC also helps to thin the phlegm. So if you have thick phlegm, NAC is very helpful for moving that phlegm. Quercetin is another plant-based antihistamine that's amazing. Has a lot of research to show how well it helps us to fend off viruses. Quercetin is also antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antihistamine. So that's a quick rundown of some of the ingredients I'm looking for. Now, vitamin D, hopefully you're already taking care of that. I always like to check my patients' vitamin D levels in their blood. And if you don't have enough, we give you a separate vitamin D and K supplement and make sure you're getting some sun exposure to boost your vitamin D. But when you're fending off viruses, you can actually boost your level of vitamin D in your supplements up a little bit more to help your immune system protect you from the infection. With vitamin C, we really want to make sure that you're getting that frequent dosing. Again, vitamin C is a classic for going through the system quickly. It's much better to, let's say you want to take 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C. You don't want to take all 2,000 at once because that also could cause loose stool. So what you want to do is you want to take 500 milligrams morning, midday, evening, bedtime. You space it out over time. So vitamin C, you're going to want to spread out through the day. Vitamin A, I also find is so important. In fact, a lot of times if I need an extra boost for my immune system, I'm going to end up adding a separate vitamin A supplement because I'm going to want to take what are considered clinical doses of vitamin A along the lines of 25,000 IUs twice or even 4 times a day because vitamin A is directly antiviral and specifically supportive to the immune system in the respiratory tract and the lungs. And so I recommend, having that, especially if you know your immune system needs an extra lift, then vitamin A can be a lifesaver. Now, there are combination products that have these things that I've just been mentioning. For example, there's a product called Immune Support in the Nature Empowered product line that has vitamin A, not at the higher doses, but it has a good dose, a good starting dose of vitamin A with vitamin C, as well as zinc and astragalus and elderberry and these herbs that I mentioned, including lysine, all in one. So that's so simple and easy. You can go, okay, let me take 2 of those in the morning, the midday, the evening, the bedtime. And now you're getting all that good stuff. You don't have to be trying to get it in a bunch of different supplements. There's also a product that I specifically researched to bring into the Nature Empowered line called Immune Support Plus. And the Immune Plus also has a little bit of vitamin C and zinc in there, which is great because oftentimes we need some more vitamin C and zinc, but it also has the extra vitamin D, as well as the N-acetylcysteine or NAC that I mentioned, and quercetin. And these have been found to really help your body recover from COVID faster, as well as other viral infections. Again, NAC helps as an antioxidant and reducing phlegm, and quercetin is also anti-inflammatory. And so when you have a combination that's in the Immune Plus, I've had times where I just literally took 2 pills and a virus that was starting to develop went away by the next day. So I love to have, if you're wanting to prevent these infections, I would be taking the Immune Plus, maybe either 1 every day at least or 1 twice a day. And you can also take the Immune Support 1 twice a day for prevention. And then if you start to get sick, then you can bump up the doses and add the silver and add the hesperidin and add extra vitamin A if you need it. And then if you're noticing that you need extra help with inflammation, so if you start to get a lot of coughing, a lot of feeling plugged in your ears, a lot of sinus inflammation, then we need more help from bromelain. Bromelain is an amazing anti-inflammatory substance. It's a plant-based substance, and you can take that along with these others that we've just been mentioning, and it will help reduce inflammation. So hopefully if we use bromelain, hopefully we won't need to be going to a steroid. But you're going to need to take the bromelain probably at least twice a day, if not 3 times a day, probably 500 milligrams at a time. And it's in certain products. So you can get bromelain by itself, but you can also get a product, for example, called Sinutrol that contains bromelain along with some extra N-acetylcysteine, and it also contains berberine. Berberine is my favorite antibacterial. So if you are noticing signs of a bacterial infection and you're thinking, oh, shoot, I might have to get antibiotics, or if you know that you tend to go into a bacterial infection and you want to start the berberine earlier, berberine is my favorite way to help to fend off bacteria. So you can use the berberine. You're going to probably want 500 to 1,000 milligrams twice a day. And you could take it separately, or you can get it in a combination such as Sinutrol that has the bromelain and the berberine together. And this way you get them all in at once and you start to be able to fend off bacteria. And then if it's still not improving, then we may have to go to antibiotics or steroids or steroids. But you can then keep going with these other approaches to support. So these are not contraindicated. If you need to take antibiotics or if you need to take steroids, these herbs and nutrients are not contraindicated. They can go together. You want to support your immune system to protect you, and then you would add on antibiotics and steroids if you need them. And if you go to the doctor and they prescribe them, that's what you're going to do. But hopefully we can prevent that by taking these steps I've just described for you. Okay, so I hope that helps you with your natural medicine cabinet. Please, I encourage you to order these things ahead of time. Have them already in your kitchen, in your cabinet, in your travel suitcase. Bring them with you, because if you start to get sick and then you have to order them, it's going to take a few days for them to get to you. Even if you can get them the next day, it's too long. You don't want to wait, right? We want to start immediately. So I encourage you to order these things ahead of time and have them ready, because this way, as soon as you have even the slightest idea that you might be getting sick, you can start in with this, and that's going to help you recover faster. So I really encourage you to order at least the priority supplements so you can start in. And then if you find that you need more, you can order the additional things if you need them. But I'm hoping that you have them on hand so you can take them right away. And then you can always reach out to my office if you need more help with dosing and recovering faster. So let's see. I think that covers it. I think then you're going to have what you need to help yourself, protect yourself from viruses, bacteria, recover faster, and get back to doing what you love. All right. Take care. And please join me for the next episode of How Humans Heal. I'll put links and connections so that you can subscribe and connect with and listen to the next episode. All right. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to How Humans Heal. If you liked this episode, leave a rating and a review. And for more resources, visit drdonnie.com.